Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. Hi, everybody. It's Sunday and it's kind of late. Time for another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. What's good, Fruit Loop?
It's late.
It's late, but we were binge watching The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is so good.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
It is good. So that's why we're late. So what's
You had some fun experience with your anesthesia.
I warned you guys, and we uploaded a few videos for a few hours, but then we got an alert that some songs on the radio were copyrighted, so we had to take them down. We didn't want to lose our online account.
Yeah, you were singing a little bit on one of them.
But there was music on the radio, and I was singing along and all kinds of stuff. But apparently, I thought I woke up and I had a baby. In recovery.
Yeah, it was classic. You had all the nurses laughing.
Oh yeah, I am just so unpredictable. But we'll try to get those back up, maybe on our webpage at some point, if you missed them. And then we had a girls' sleepover this weekend. I have not done that since high school.
Oh yeah, it was fun. Stayed up late and everything.
Kicked all the guys out except for Mason, my son, and we just took over the living room. And what do? We watched Greatest Showman. So good.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen that one.
And we were up to like 2 a.m.
Yeah, way past my bedtime.
Yeah, it was classic.
So if you guys want a sticker, shoot us either an email at prettyliesandalibis@gmail.com with your name and address, or you can inbox us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. We'll probably be sending those out midweek. We just got another shipment. You guys took them all.
Yeah, I know, right?
Awesome. We want to give a big shout out to Jenny, who sent us some crazy beautiful pictures from her hike. And she let us know that she was listening to the show while she was on her hike. And it just blows our mind to know we have listeners all over the world. It's insane.
Yeah, it was neat. Like, those pictures were really, really pretty.
Oh my gosh, they were beautiful. We love to hike, so we were digging that.
Yeah.
Now, what's coming up tomorrow?
Oh, got the grand jury.
Tomorrow through Thursday. None of the major outlets have reported it, but from what we understand, it is happening. And man, it's crazy to think after all this time we may have charges this week.
Yeah. We've been waiting. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. So we're going to keep an eye on that and see if anything comes down. What we're going to do on this episode is probably about a week and a half ago, we both had spent about a day and a half researching this religion, or I refer to it as a cult, that the Duggar family is in. And we had some people send us some links that were helpful. And so we wrote down some good points that I think just got an alert.
You got an alert.
Guess who didn't turn their sounds off? So before we get started, I want to clarify, because somebody had made a comment on YouTube and I felt bad because I know it sounded this way. But when we say we don't like those people talking about the Duggars, I'm mainly just talking about Jim Bob and Michelle and the pedophile.
Yeah.
Those three. The other kids seem really nice. And Jill and her husband, Derek, have flown the coop and are doing their own thing and wearing pants and drinking alcohol and using birth control. So they're banished from the family. But they're living their life.
Yeah.
And I think Derek just graduated from college with a law degree. And I believe the area of interest he has is to help kids that are in the entertainment industry, maybe, or something like that, because they have definitely not made it a secret that Jim Bob has not paid them for their time on the show.
Yeah, the numbers on this were shocking for me.
Yeah, so the Duggars earned anywhere between $25,000 and $45,000 per episode until the scandal with Josh came to light in 2015. So they had 227 episodes when the show was pulled. And I did some math, y'all. I used a calculator.
You didn't add that up in your head?
I did not. And I used the median number. 8th grade math all over again, just to be in the middle. And it was almost $8 million just for that original run. And not to mention the other specials that came after.
Wow.
Apparently, everybody says Jim Bob kept the money, and he told the kids they were on this show as a ministry. And that's what these kids believed all these years. They don't have TV. So it kind of seems like...
That's shady.
Yeah, very shady. So we're going to get into this Bill Gothard. He is the guy that founded the Institute for Basic Life Principles. So tell us a little bit about that, Fruit Loop.
That was founded... Well, remember this. He's never been married and he doesn't have any kids. It was founded in like 1961 in the Chicago suburbs. He started with a basic seminar in 1964. Initially, he was teaching this 25-hour seminar that we abbreviated IBLP. Says over 2.5 million have taken. And you remember they talked about this seminar.
They did.
Early on.
In the very early days of 19 and counting, they talked about this financial freedom as part of the seminar, and that's how they justified they were able to raise all these kids. So what this teaches is what they say. It's teaching lasting answers to life's challenges based on the Bible, overcoming feelings of being inferior, and financial freedom. That's what these seminars teach.
You got some financial freedom if you making all that money.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, for real.
So ATI is the Advanced Training Institute. That was founded in 1984, and they built on the Christian homeschool movement and built facilities in 7 states. So they have their own curriculum. It's very heavily based in the Bible. And in fact, Josh and Anna met at an ATI conference in 2006.
Huh.
So the seminar is kind of a prerequisite for joining ATI. You kind of have to go to that before you can. It sounds like a MLM scheme, where you have to go to these things, and I don't know.
Well, look at what their assets were in 2015. Their tax returns were $80 million.
Yeah, I might be a Duggar now, y'all.
For real.
If they want to adopt a wild child, I could be the black sheep.
Come on.
So the Duggars actually started in this organization in 1992 when Josh was 4. And someone who was raised in this cult said that Gothard was seen as a modern-day Apostle Paul. So we're going to look into some of his things on marriage and family. Again, never married, no kids, apparently.
That makes you a scholar. He stayed at a Motel 8, isn't that what it is? Or a Holiday Inn or something.
Yeah, Holiday Express.
Yeah, something like that.
And now I'm a pro on how to treat your wife and kids.
Yes. So they're taught it is dangerous and wrong for women to seek degrees. Their job was to stay home, cook, clean, and have babies.
Mm-hmm.
It teaches total separation from the world and to keep the world out of your home.
Yeah. And they're taught that boys almost always have uncontrollable urges. And in order to help them with not being tempted, the girls and women should dress modestly. If you don't dress modestly, you had it coming. This bothers me to my core.
Yeah.
We live in a society where we are slowly but surely becoming more vocal about how women are treated in that manner with men. And I think the movement is going forward where I think women feel nowadays they don't have to keep it in. They know there are so many women out there who've been victims. But always the main thing you tell women, it wasn't your fault. You want to stop rape? Well, you got to stop the rapist.
Yeah.
It's nothing you do. I hate that.
My thing with this whole deal about them not getting degrees and all that kind of stuff, it causes them to be reliable on the husband only.
Exactly. And they have no way to support the however many kids that marriage produced on their own.
Yeah.
So you're right. It does seem set up to keep women with a spouse. Sherlock is agreeing. He's out at the door meowing.
He's amening.
Yeah.
So, looking at, sorry, I lost my place.
So
the cat.
The other thing that they teach is that a woman should stand behind every decision the husband makes and trust his leadership. I mean, so what if you see your husband about to make a bonehead move and it maybe is going to lead to your financial downfall? Do you trust him?
Well, I mean, that one thing there, I mean, is that what Michelle did?
With
Jim Bob?
That's what all these women do with their husbands. It is a cult. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So I like this one. Look at him lovingly when he speaks and do not interrupt.
Oh, man.
See, I could never be in this.
No, you be in there 1 second, you be out of there.
Because if you're saying something I don't like, I'm not going to look at you lovingly and I'm going to speak up.
You tapping out. I'm out. She can't argue with her husband, and if she disagrees with him, she has to follow a formula to make a godly appeal. Wow.
Yeah.
All financial decisions are his.
You do not deny him husband and wife sexy time.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
His vision must be her vision.
Yeah.
She must place unquestioning trust and faith in her husband. Again, we said women are discouraged from working outside the home. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and I think
this. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. I totally interrupted.
Well, this lines up with what Anna's going through.
Yeah, and you have to remember, she was, as far as I know, she was raised in a family that believed these same principles. So she grew up watching her mother do this. I remember one episode of the TLC show where they met up with Anna's parents. I think they lived out of state away from Josh. And they were definitely I know they're not quiverful exactly, but they do follow we will have as many kids as God sees fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
they believe counselors outside the practice are tainted by the world. They usually deal with this stuff within the organization. They don't believe in psychology being a base for counseling. It needs to be Bible-based.
Now, this tells me with that many people part of this movement, you're trying to teach things that a licensed psychologist, such as with Josh all those years ago, as well as law enforcement, they're not seeking it. So I would imagine that abuse and sexual abuse and that sort of thing is rampant in this cult.
Well, when you create that hierarchy that the man is always right, you do as you're told, you don't work, you don't, anything like that, like that's going to be an issue. So as far as divorce, there's never really any reason to seek one. It even says to divorce because of unfaithfulness is the same as destroying Christ's relationship with the church and the believer's relationship with the law. This cat just jumped up on me.
Hey, Sherlock.
There's a tail sticking over my screen here.
It just came my way.
So Sherlock says, hey. So the umbrella of authority for women is your parents until marriage, then your husband, and Gothard and his teachings. If you stray from this, it gives Satan a stronghold over your life. And we know Josh even blamed Satan's stronghold in his life for the Ashley Madison cheating scandal.
Oh, something had a stronghold on Josh, but
still does.
It's in his Levi's.
Sheesh. So Gothard didn't want members to attend public school, colleges, or medical degrees. That medical problem should be taken care of on a spiritual level.
This seems really dangerous. Just already.
Yeah. I mean, there's times where you need medical help.
And mental help.
Yeah.
I tell you, I would love to see a statistic of abuse within this group of people.
Yeah, but think about it. I mean, is it going to exist? Is anybody going to come forward? You know what I mean?
Well, there is a website called Recovering Grace, and it's people that have gotten away from this cult, and we're going to talk about them in a bit. Some of the things that now on the outside they see.
Wow. So
with courtship, this is what the Duggars practice, and this is so weird to me. If you're attracted to someone pre-courtship, you shouldn't be with them. To defraud another person is to stir up in them desires that cannot be righteously satisfied. A woman can defraud a man by the way that she dresses, talks, or acts.
Wow.
Blame the women.
Yeah.
Do not enter into a courtship until you are at a stage in life when marriage is a realistic possibility.
God reveals to a man who he should be married to. Parents approve when things can proceed in a courting. Is this like a mixture of like Amish?
Yeah, it really is.
It's like a conglomerate of different sects of religion.
Yeah, no, it does. It really has an Amish feel to it.
Yeah, yeah. So parents approve when things can proceed in a courting. He asked her father for permission to court. There is then a vetting process where finances, personal history, and doctrine purity is looked at. Well,
man.
See if Josh, they could have examined Josh's personal history.
Yeah, clearly they left that part out.
Anna could have kept on walking.
So ideally, the two families will communicate with each other to establish the best way to encourage and protect the couple with a plan for accountability. So what that means is they have accountability partners that go on dates with them, and they're not supposed to be unsupervised ever.
It's like your mom in the back seat. You get your arm off my daughter.
Hand check. Let me see those hands in the air.
Flash them up. Let's go.
So yeah, and with courting, they can, at a certain point, they can do the side hug. They can, if they're engaged to be married, they can hold hands, but typically they hold their first kiss until the wedding.
Wow.
What if you find out you've got a drooler?
Uh-oh.
And your husband don't know how to handle his spit when
You
he's
in
kissing?
trouble.
No. There's some things you got to try out before you put a ring on it, y'all. Kissing is definitely one.
He is then given permission to win his daughter's heart. Wait, you just said that.
I just said, yeah, they're not without supervision.
That whole spit thing got me right
Sorry,
there.
we were watching Bly Manor, and like our brains are a little foggy right now.
Yeah. My sugar's been crazy the last couple of days. Like, roller coaster. It's like a ride at Carowinds, dude. So they are then allowed to become emotionally attached, but nothing physical can happen. The last step is marriage.
Right, but the daughter will first have a revelation from God that he's the one. And I've seen some of these Duggar episodes where they'll say, I feel God telling me she's the one. And this is after maybe 5 days of dating.
Wow.
Yeah, it's...
hey, that's like Alex Cox and...
Yeah, Zulema.
Yeah.
That was a quick one.
Ian and Melanie, yeah.
So, yeah. So, like we said, Recovering Grace is a website where people that are out of the Bill Gothard teaching... have come together to tell some of their stories about their experiences in this. And they published one story of a woman who was being sexually harassed by Gothard, and then more came pouring in. He often preaches on, we said, he preaches on marriages and families mainly, and he hasn't experienced either one.
Red flag.
Yeah, it's
Major
like,
red flag.
I don't want my heart doctor, talking to the proctologist,
Yeah.
He needs to know his stuff.
Exactly.
So many women have come forward accusing Gothard of sexual harassment. The girls, sometimes as young as 15, but usually only in their mid-20s. He likes them young.
That's just sick.
It would involve inappropriate touching on their backs, their thighs, taking off his shoes and playing footsie with them. Just really creepy stuff. I don't want to touch your feet.
Here's my deal. That's your kid. Like, it baffles me that's hidden. And that's your kid and you let them be around that guy?
Yeah, because apparently this guy's like an apostle and he can do no wrong.
Yeah, that's just sick.
He's kind of like the L. Ron Hubbard of Scientology to what this movement is to... Yeah.
So when in all these cases, when do the people look out for the children? We deal with death after death after death.
Right.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah. But I think in this cult, if we could get a true statistic, it would be mind-boggling with the types of things even that the Duggar experienced. If you have these families with teenagers and they have kids they have 17 kids and half of them are teenagers. The way sex is so taboo in this religion, I bet this is rampant.
Yeah.
And hidden.
Oh, yeah.
And brushed under the rug just like we saw with Josh.
Yep. So one woman was asked why she didn't run away, and she said that she had nowhere to go, no resources, and her parents controlled every aspect of her life. She was taught God would curse her if she strayed. This young lady was sent to the institute as a 24-year-old woman after being raped by a male ATI student who was also an adult. She was victim shamed, told it must be her fault. No authorities were called. The young men were warned to avoid her because she was that kind of girl.
That is terrible.
That's awful.
Yeah.
That goes with what we just said.
Right.
They're teaching that man is right. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. And if you get raped, it's not the fact that the guy's a rapist. It's the fact that maybe your skirt wasn't loose enough. That's the kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Clearly the woman's fault according to this crazy
Okay,
stuff.
If you're a woman, just get out of that stuff.
Yeah, but it is almost we were talking about it being sort of like Amish. They get shunned.
Yeah.
They have nothing because the family is the same. Their family is the same way as the one you're leaving. And they have, and the other thing too, they don't have schooling. So they have no skills, no education. And at that point, they got a van full of kids.
Yeah.
What do you do? I do see where staying is your only option.
It's like a puppy mill.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's why the women are there.
Yeah.
Like, you have no voice.
Mm-mm.
And that's just sad.
But I think Michelle was still trying to give birth after she had grandkids, but unfortunately her body had enough, and I think they had a rough go. The last couple, I think they miscarried, and then the last one had some problems after birth, and then she quit. So now they're getting a grandkid a week, it seems.
Yeah, for real.
Because half of their adult kids are now married and having kids, and so they're trapped.
Yeah. It's alienation.
It is. You're in your own bubble.
Yeah.
The world doesn't exist outside because you don't want to be a part of that world.
Man, I mean, it's lady, like, you can be anything you want to be.
Heck yeah. Well, you could be an astronaut, vice president. It don't matter. You can be, but how is somebody with 9-10 kids going to go get a college education, pay for childcare, and find a place to live and feed those kids when you're shunned?
Yeah. I mean, you can't do it.
You can't do it. I'd be playing scratch offs, trying my luck.
Yeah.
They're taught not to use birth control. They believe that God opens and closes the womb, and you aren't putting your trust in God if you use birth control. And women are taught they have no choice in the matter of how many times they get pregnant.
Wow. I'm going to tell you, it's my body. I got a choice.
Exactly. It's a sin to refuse sex to your husband. If you do, it would be the woman's fault if he were to have an affair or develop a pornography addiction. Josh did both.
Oh, here we go.
But it's a sin to refuse sex. I would have 19 kids if that were the fact.
So they practice shunning, and we talked about Jill and Derek. They're told that they can't be around people who have gone astray. So she says if Anna were to leave, she would have no help. Her brother did offer previously. But you're leaving behind all your people, and you're a stranger in the real world, which sounds like if you don't have TV or anything, you don't know you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what's going on in the real world.
Right. But overall, this group prefers that molestation and rape be kept within the family and within the elders of the church or whatever.
Red flag.
Yeah. Oh, huge red flag.
Red flag.
Yeah. So it says in his teachings that if a woman is raped and doesn't cry out for help, she is equally as guilty as the perpetrator. One example was a young boy who had molested his sisters. He blamed his mother for letting the girl run around naked after a bath and having to change diapers. Gothard said they should have kept the girls modest in the house.
I'm pretty sure you don't take a bath with your bathing suit on or your clothes on.
Nah.
Oh, John.
I mean, maybe one time for fun, but I mean.
Sheesh. Yeah.
So this part really bothered me. And this is from the teachings that somebody sent this to us. And this is a sheet that is given to these members. And it's called, Why Did God Let a 4-Year-Old Boy Be Molested by His 15-Year-Old Neighbor? So we're going to go through their reasoning as to why this happened.
Okay, so to teach him responsibility to cry out to God for help. It goes on to say that in this evil world, the weak may be attacked by the strong. The law of God says the weaker must cry out for help, or he will be equally guilty. When the victim,
that's in quotes.
Yeah, doesn't cry out, he will carry around a sense of guilt which Satan will use for condemnation and further defeat. It says it's important for the child to confess his failure and ask God to forgive him.
The second reason that God would let a 4-year-old boy be molested is to motivate him to dedicate his body to God. They quote scripture to say a body must be... You good over there?
That was me. I knocked my water over.
Oh, okay. I thought
Sorry
you failed.
about that.
I was about to start laughing. I thought I was going to see your feet up in the air. So to motivate him to dedicate his body to God. They quote scripture to say a body must be a living sacrifice to God. And when you do that, your body is no longer your own. And the concept is important to avoid bitterness. The child can say, the boy didn't molest my body. He molested God's body, and God's judgment is on him. Ay, ay, ay. What Bible they reading?
I don't know. They ain't no grace or mercy nowhere.
None.
Oh my goodness. To give him a moral vaccination from future temptation, God will severely judge the 15-year-old boy for what he did. Your son can turn what was meant for evil into good. It says the vaccinations we get give us a small amount of the actual disease. Our immune system builds a reaction to this, so if our body is exposed to the disease, it is prepared to fight it off. The same can happen if your son's situation is handled in a spiritual way.
To transform aroused desires to spiritual power. When molestation occurs, it can awaken sexual desires. I don't know of a victim that was victimized that would say it awoken anything in them. This is so weird. Sexual energy can be transformed into spiritual power as we yield the members of our body to the Lord on a daily basis and hide God's word in our heart. Scripture refers to sexual drives as coming from our innermost beings, and John states, out of his innermost being shall flow rivers of living water.
So to motivate him to write God's law in his heart, to transform the event, and that's in quotes too, the molestation into spiritual power, your son must memorize large portions of Scripture and meditate on them day and night.
The next reason is to concentrate on God's hatred of sodomy. It's important for your son to memorize the law and testimonies we speak of the abomination. He should focus on Sodom and Gomorrah and memorize all passages that directly refer to the sin of sodomy.
To confirm the importance of avoiding evil companions.
Right. And to learn to avoid evil companions. When a person is molested, he develops a new sensitivity to people with wrong motives. This awareness is for future protection and must be developed into the quality of awareness instead of fear. Your son should now have a natural resistance to any person with impure motives.
I'm going to tell you what.
This is
what
wackadoodle.
Is this? We done read through 5 of these.
Wackadoodle.
Maybe 5.
Yeah.
And obviously, your plan don't work.
Not at all.
I'm just saying.
Crazy, dude.
I'm just saying. It don't work.
So one of the other reasons this would be allowed to happen is to work out justice and mercy. It's important that justice be carried out in this situation. This means proper punishment for the 15-year-old. In preparation for this, it's vital to make diligent inquiry with each boy to get the facts. Any hidden aspect of this molestation will give the enemy authority and will be used by him to further defeat both boys. Once the full known facts are known and repented of, mercy may be extended.
Okay. I just these it's just crazy. I
So,
mean,
yeah, it's a predator's playground.
yeah, like you're giving them. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. You're not holding them accountable for anything.
It almost reads to me, if you have sick people, that I could see where they would excuse themselves saying, I'm teaching them spiritual lessons by doing this.
Oh yeah.
There's no sense of, you are violated. You are a victim. That was a crime. That was a brutal crime at that. It's the opposite. It's victim shaming and blaming is what I see. And that makes my skin crawl.
Yeah. Wrong is wrong. And this is so wrong.
Yeah. So they also had in this material, it says to help parents understand the basis of genius. In a study by the Smithsonian Institute, 40 men considered geniuses were studied to find common denominators. The 3 common denominators were: the parents protected them from contact with other children. They were continually around adults who taught them what they knew. Number 3, they were taught how to creatively solve problems. It says, based on this, your son should not have been with the other boy rather than with adults so he could learn from them. So again, they're saying that your son who was victimized shouldn't have been with the predator in the first place.
Wow. So, to see the need for a daily schedule and best use of time, free time is a dangerous and unwise commodity. The phrase idle hands are the devil's workshop is true. The wise parent will schedule productive activities through the day so a child does not have time to get in trouble. Dude, I'm going to tell you what. We both have awesome parents.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to be honest with you. When I did something wrong, I got a whooping. And, I mean, oh, good grief.
Oh, yeah.
It's just sweeping it under the rug.
And it's one of the worst crimes.
Yeah.
That you can sweep under the rug.
I mean, this ain't taking somebody's Legos.
Right, exactly.
Stealing some candy. I mean, you're ruining somebody's life.
Exactly. And just, you have to wonder how many of these people in this cult are walking around so screwed up in the head, needing help, but will never get it because of the religious no.
Well, think about it. So Jill's no longer in the family.
She's getting therapy, by the way.
Yeah, and I mean, what does that say that your parents are okay with this, or doesn't hold anybody accountable for it?
Yeah, no. A therapist is going to tell her a lot of stuff and it's going to be the opposite of what she was taught her whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on down, the points are they believe the physical suffering is the least important part of a person. There is no mention of the emotional and psychological damage that molestation and rape bring. It shames the victim for feeling bitterness and guilt.
The victim blames, saying the abuse may have been invited or it was divine wrath. Gothard presents a God who passively or actively allows sexual abuse as punishment for immodest dress, being out from the protection of parents, being with evil friends. So because of something you did, this is why it happened, and it's your fault, not somebody else's.
Yeah, definitely. Moral vaccination was a thing Gothard talked about in the 80s. One example is a woman who is dealing with immoral thoughts is eventually raped. And he said her rape and eventual aversion to sexuality was an inoculation against lust.
The victim is taught what spiritual power they can be compensated with after the that's a tongue twister.
It's late.
After the abuse. Mm-hmm. The victim is pressured to see the abuse as necessary to become mighty in spirit. So
that was what I could pull, at least kind of focusing in on what we're dealing with Josh and the charges he has. As we know, the trooper he talked to is in jail for 56 years for the exact same thing Josh is facing charges for. I just feel like this is... I mean, I feel so bad for these people.
It explains the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, you understand it.
Yeah. In other words, you're a victim. Either you brought it on yourself or there's some plan for you to learn from it to further your religion.
I mean, I want to say this. They think the male is all high and mighty, but without the female, you ain't have no kids.
You couldn't have all 19?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would love to know if the FBI looks in on, you know how they will look into certain religions and they keep files. You can go to the FBI website and you'll find all kinds of stuff that is declassified now. And you would think, why were they looking at them? I bet this cult is full of victims.
Oh, yeah. The numbers are going to be staggering.
Cannot even imagine. We know they brushed it under the rug the first time with Josh. And then again, the next year. Remember, they caught him, or he told them, apparently. And then the next year, he was doing it again. So, and then we have the Ashley Madison scandal. And now we find out for 2 years, he's been receiving and sending this child abuse materials.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just feel like I'm still blown away he's out on bail. Like we said, I don't think that any of them will turn him in should he do something wrong. They're just part of that movement, and they all think alike.
Wonder how that's going.
I mean, I'm sure it's not a party. They're probably not sitting around watching Bly Manor like we are.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, but I'm curious, does his wife sleep over, the kids sleep over, those sort of things? I mean, he's a danger.
Oh, yeah.
He is a danger. Wish they would have kept him in, but...
Yeah. I hope they got some kind of surveillance on him or something.
I mean, he has the ankle monitor, so...
Still.
I know. It's not enough.
Ain't
It's
trusting
not
that
enough.
sucker.
No. So that's kind of what we had for this. It was just something we had done a while back, and we just wanted to put that out there because it gives a lot of insight into all of this surrounding Josh with Anna and everything else. But
Yeah.
we did have somebody that was it Sarah, who's the one that's the professor? I think it's
Yeah, I think.
I'm getting the names mixed up. But she said, go easy on Anna. I know a lot about this stuff, and she's trapped.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess if you haven't lived that kind of a life, it seems crazy that you can't just get up and move out. But
Yeah.
it's like the Amish. In a way, you leave. With the Amish, they do Rumspringa, which is where they let them go for a couple of years, actually. They can live in the world.
Yep.
They can get their hair cut. They can wear street clothes. They can go to parties. There's a really good documentary about the Amish Rumspringa. It's something about devil.
Yeah, I remember we watched some of that.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
shows these Amish teens that are out on their Rumspringa, and a few of them decide not to go back, but majority went back.
Yeah.
And I think you're
Yep.
just raised in it, and I think that's all you know, and so you get a taste of the world. And it's smart. The reason they do this is because they want people in the Amish church who truly want to be there.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like some of the stuff they do is amazing.
I love the
Like,
Amish.
Oh yeah, like their barn raising when somebody needs something built. Like, I mean, it's amazing what they do.
Yeah, they're a community.
Yeah, they take care of each other, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
We could learn a few lessons from the Amish, but I know
Oh,
too
yeah.
that this kind of stuff happens with the Amish as well.
Yeah.
I know I've read a lot of incestuous stuff and
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think we'll really hear much about Josh right now. I think that trial was coming up in July.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of months, and I think we'll hopefully be having some Valo stuff in between. And I'm going to follow this. We talked about it on the last one, the 14-year-old boy that murdered the 13-year-old girl, stabbed her to death. We had several readers or listeners reach out, and they live right there.
Yeah.
In fact, a couple of them joined the search. So we've been crazy busy. I do want to reach back out to them and kind of talk to them a little bit. But if you guys have a case that's coming up or that you're watching, always let us know.
Yeah.
Because we would love to just have on here exactly what you guys want.
Exactly. I wanted to use that word again. Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just been a busy week for us. We've been going strong. I had the test run. She had to babysit me after that. And
I'm still okay. My favorite video was when we were riding down the road and, well, one, you're hanging your head out the window.
like a dog.
Oh yeah, and you were like, "This feels so good." And the other one, there was like a sign. It's some company. It was Eagle something, and you're over there, caw, caw.
Oh, it's crazy.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, there's some videos we can't put up.
No.
Oh, Fruit Loop. Leave it to Fruit Loop to have my back.
Oh, it was. I couldn't let anybody miss that.
No,
Like, it
you
was-
didn't want to miss it.
Oh, the nurse was laughing. The one nurse goes, "She is gonna kill you when she sees all these videos." Yeah, it was good.
But I got a good report pretty much. So,
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna live.
yeah,
I was really scared for a couple months. You know, when this pancreas started, my dad's twin sisters died of pancreatic cancer. So naturally, I'm a risk.
yeah,
And they're saying, "Oh, we got to CT your pancreas and ultrasound your pancreas." You start thinking about your last will and testament.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm the one that Googles my symptoms, and I got a week to live.
yeah.
I'm gonna
exactly.
die. Yeah,
Exactly.
so-
We used to in psychology classes. You have the DSM-4, which is like what psychiatrists use to diagnose you.
Oh yeah.
And that's what they like. Your first class is like, don't diagnose yourself. Well, by the end of the class, you've done diagnose yourself with 500 different things.
I know, right?
Yeah, yeah,
We're all okay for the most part.
yeah, yep.
But we will now. We're really going to keep an eye on Idaho this week. We'll see it. I don't know that it'll take till Thursday, but my understanding is once the grand jury hands down the indictment, they should announce it.
Yeah,
They should let us know what it was. We know it's going to be for JJ, Tylee, and Tammy Daybell. So we could have 3 separate murder charges coming. I think they will. I think the old saying is a grand jury would indict a ham sandwich.
yeah,
And what it is they essentially pass up pretty much everything that has even a smidge of proof.
Yeah.
They don't risk it. Now, here's the interesting thing. If the grand jury does not indict, Wood cannot file murder charges against them for these crimes.
They better indict.
They better all.
That's why he's done what he's done, though.
Right. I do think it's a smart way to go, mainly because it preserves the evidence. And just from what we saw with the arrest warrant or the probable cause affidavit with Chad, we saw a little smidge of the cell phone pings and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What we haven't seen is purchases. Was there any fingerprints on anything? There's a lot to come, and this grand jury is going to hear some of that. I wonder if we can sneak in.
I would love to. It'd be great. Hey, we're just going to sit in. Gonna sit in.
Yeah.
On the back row.
Yeah, we'll be really quiet. We won't tell anybody.
Yeah, we won't tell anybody except our listeners. That's it. Sherlock is like wanting out of here.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap it up. We'll keep an eye on this. And if you guys see anything that you think we should know about, shoot us a message or whatever. And don't forget, send us your addresses for your stamps. Your stamps.
Yep.
Boogity. For your stickers. And we're looking into getting some T-shirts. We've had a lot of people ask for T-shirts.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to find the best way to do it. So we're going to start working on all that pretty soon.
All right. Sounds good.
Yep, we're going to go because Sherlock is all up in Fritley's personal space.
He's going to grab my hand. I know it.
All right. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Good night.